This computer.
Mm-hmm.
You got a record light?
Yes, I do.
Okay, you ready to roll?
Yeah.
All right, here we go, everybody. Welcome, Paradox of Sports, episode 14. We're just cruising through the summer. We normally get together a little bit before we start recording, and Jack and I chat a little bit. We're not doing that tonight. We're getting right into it. Jack has a real good interview he did with ESPN Sarah Spain. That's going to come up here after a bit. But first, we're going to talk a little bit about the week that was. Jack, hello. How are you?
Good.
How was the past week, man? What have you been up to?
Nothing much. I've been doing some golf, some swimming, and just chillaxing.
Just chillaxing? Are you enjoying it?
Well, yeah.
Nice.
Of course I am.
You just enjoy being a kid, man. It goes fast, and then you spend the rest of your life wishing you were a kid again. So baseball's back. We have a rocky schedule. Have you had a chance to look at it?
No, not yet.
They play nonstop. Like once they get going,
Yeah.
they start, and then there's no days off. There's no nothing. So I'm curious to see how that's going to play out for the guys. But along with the pro guys back, you start when?
I start next Saturday. Not the upcoming Saturday, but the next one.
So you have games in like when we're recording. So this is Wednesday. So you have like 10 days, and then you're on the field. That's awesome. Are you looking forward to it?
Of course I am.
Gotcha. So what's your team? What's the name?
The Express.
And so the emblem is the engine that I have seen, right? It's like an E that looks like the front of a train.
Yeah, it's the Round Rock Express logo and AA for the Texas Rangers.
Oh, that's cool. And then they just put the E on it?
Yeah. It's
Nice.
the same one.
What part of that day, so we're going to fast forward to game day in 2 weeks. What part of that day are you looking forward to most?
Just overall playing baseball. Just playing in the game. Like, I think I have 2 games that day, so I'll have like full 3 hours, and plus it's gonna be hot.
Yeah, it's hot down there this time of year, man. That's the way it goes.
Mm-hmm.
You've been practicing here the last week.
Yes.
Okay, how's practice been going?
It's been going fine.
You were a little concerned about your hitting last week when we talked. Have you tightened that up any?
I'm not really sure. I mean, we will have a batting practice on Wednesday, tomorrow, and it's at Runyon Sports Complex where we play. And today we have a practice at Heaton Middle School, and
Gotcha.
that's for Tuesdays and Thursdays.
Nice.
On Wednesdays we go to run into that.
Nice. So you're getting back in the groove.
Yeah.
Cool. They're trying to think what else baseball-wise. There hasn't been anything too huge happen. Football, we got the news on Mahomes' contract. Have you had a chance to look at that?
Yes, I have.
Okay, so what is your opinion on that?
Patrick Mahomes has signed a 10-year, $400 million extension, the highest sports deal in any sport in history.
Do you think that is a smart move by the Chiefs?
Oh, yeah, that's a smart move. He's been on fire, and ever since he won the Super Bowl, after he threw for 5,000 yards and 50 touchdowns, you got to give him that contract.
So you're all about locking him in.
Yes.
Now, you're not worried about – I don't know anything about how their salary cap works, so I don't know what they're going to have for room. But if you're Mahomes, okay, and you're in that situation, do you want that big bag, or would you rather not get the big bag and let him save a little money and maybe get you a good left tackle? Or do you just want the money?
I mean, they already have a good O-line.
Oh,
So
okay.
he
So
may want the money.
So they're short up there. So rather than having any other tools, and they've got some good tools around them because their offense was fire. So give me the bag. If Jack is Patrick, Jack's saying, give me the bag.
Yeah.
Right on. Give me the money. Show me the money. Exactly. What other sports did you watch last week?
I watched some reruns of old baseball games from late 80s, early 90s on MLB Network. And I was basically just watching reruns of sports. Most recently, I've been watching the 2008 College Baseball World Series, or 2009 College Baseball World Series, Game 3, which I gotta say was pretty good.
Okay, so go back to these MLB games that you're watching. Do you notice a difference between what you're seeing from baseball last summer compared to the baseball games from, say, 12 years ago?
Yeah, it's different because well, they played it more to the core because they, like, in the early days you had not really that much logic to it, but now there's logic to the game, and that's why many people are doing really well in sprouts of seasons.
Gotcha. So you kind of, which do you like better? Do you like the style they were playing 12 years ago, or you kind of like where baseball is now?
I kind of like where baseball is now because they've made improvements to the game that make games even more contesting, and that's what I like about it.
Okay, this just popped into my head. Now, let's get into your uniform, okay? Let's start at the top and work our way down. So your hat that you wear, are you a flat brim hat guy? Do you like a little curve in it, or do you like the big old heavy curve? How do you have that hat set?
I've got it just a little curve because, like, if I wear it flat, it just hurts my head. So okay. I curve it a little, and it feels way more comfortable.
Gotcha. So you just put a little bend in it. You're basically using it as a baseball player should. You put a little bend in it to block the sun. Now, do you wear sunglasses during the day games, or do you wear eye black, or what do you got going on the face? Do you do any of that?
I haven't really wore eye black in a while. I've wore sunglasses in the summer league, and I've only played 4 of the 6 games my team's played because the first 2 games I was sick. And
okay. So what are we going with this year? Are we going to wear sunglasses during the day games, or how are we going to look?
Sunglasses.
So sunglasses during the day games. Tucking the shirt in. Do you do a tight tuck where you can see the belt, or do you tuck it in and then pull the shirt out a little bit? That's kind of a fat guy move. Or do you do like the tight tuck where you can see the belt?
I just normally tuck it in.
You do the normal everyday tuck.
Yes.
Gotcha. And I was talking to your old man where I'm hoping that, so it's not this Saturday, the next one. So we will have one more episode, and then you'll get into playing. So hopefully we have a little footage that we're going to break down when we do a podcast here in a couple weeks. Okay, so just normal tuck in. You get down to the pants. Now, do you wear like skin tight, or are you a baggy pants guy? Where do you go with the pants?
I sometimes go with just normal baseball pants. Like, when do you wear not too baggy, not too tight?
So that's another thing. You don't wear, I was a big fan of the big baggy pants. That was kind of the thing when I was going. Okay, so we're moving our way down. Now, this is very important. Where are you at with socks? Are you a high socks guy? Are you the low socks guy where the pant leg goes all the way to your heel? Or how do you wear the sock area?
I'm a high sock guy.
Nice. That's baseball right there. That's a purist. I like that.
So I normally wear red or blue socks. I also have these Stars and Stripes socks and pink socks for our originally scheduled Bats for the Cure.
Nice. Yeah, we do that. The hockey. So there's a hockey team I do the public address for up here, the junior team, and they do a pink in the rink. And dude, I wear my pink stuff. Hell, I bought a pink jersey last year, so I have no issue wearing the pink stuff. So that's really cool. So you're a high sock guy. Now we're down to the cleats. Are you black cleats or white cleats? What do you do there?
I usually wear my current cleats right now are blue. So
that's cool.
Yeah. So they're basically blue and white cleats with a Velcro strap as extra protection from it falling off your feet. As long as the cleats.
Now the hats. Do you wear fitted hats or are they snapbacks? What are your hats like?
Probably fitted hats.
Nice. We're gonna have to talk to your dad. I want to order a fitted hat. So that's a little after business, but I got to get me an express hat. So I'll talk to your old man. We got to figure out how to make that happen. So now the batting gloves. Do you wear batting gloves?
Yes, I do.
Okay. Are they black or white or blue? Surprise me.
I used to wear white batting gloves, but I got new batting gloves for Christmas and they're red.
Dude, you're all over the map. You're like the red, white, and blue. The star-spangled batter, Jack. I'm looking forward to seeing it, man. We're gonna get some pictures. We'll get some at bats. We'll put them up on the Facebook page. We'll break everything down.
Fielding is my strong suit.
What is?
Fielding.
That's what I've heard. I'm anxious to see that too. We'll see if they can get some good video. We'll break down the fielding. You batting wise, you just get in there and hit the ball. Don't overthink it. Just get in there and hit the ball. I think we'll get her done. So now what about wrestling? What happened here in the wrestling world this week?
Pretty uneventful as of this week. Last Friday we saw Sheamus toast to Jeff Hardy's sobriety because they had this one go around with like Jeff Hardy being questioned, and they saw a guy with the red hair and red beard, which was Sheamus. And then they had that match. Sheamus defeated Jeff Hardy. And then he toasted to Jeff Hardy's sobriety because he didn't drink that day. And then Jeff Hardy attacked the bartender, which I gotta say is cool.
That's pretty cool, unless you're the bartender. That's not cool.
And then on Raw, still pretty uneventful. So main event on Raw, Asuka, the Raw Women's Champion, took on Bayley, the SmackDown Women's Champion, in a champion versus champion match. So it was looking like Bayley was gonna win it before she took a refresher outside the ring. And then her rival, the number one contender for SmackDown Women's Championship, Nikki Cross, just out of nowhere came into the arena and then just started banging on the glass, on the plexiglass from behind it. And then she got scared, and then Asuka made her submit with the Asuka lock. So that's what happened there.
Nice. So good week of wrestling too.
Yeah. Also, last week was AEW's Fyter Fest, which we saw matches between the tag team champions Kenny Omega and Adam Page against the Trent and Chuck Taylor. And it was a pretty good match, those two. And then and then we saw Cody take on Jake Hager. I believe Cody won. So so two former WWE wrestlers go at it for the TNT title. Cody Rhodes and Jack Swagger from WWE, and Cody and Jake Hager from AEW.
Nice. Okay, well, today's guest, we get into not only her her
Beats.
trail that she took to get into the position she is in with ESPN. But we break down a little bit of the NBA. Again, this is one of the ones we had canned a couple weeks ago. So more information has come out since the interview. She called it right on, exactly what they're doing. Loading up, headed to Orlando. The boys are going to live in a bubble and play a little ball down there, basically like a big AAU tournament. So what do you know about what the NBA is going to do, and what are your feelings on how they're going to run it?
I still don't know how the NBA is going to pile out their season.
I think what they're trying to do is just shove everybody into Orlando. They just rented – it sounds like they rented all the hotels at Disney World, and they're just going to stick all the guys down there, and they're just going to play like several games. It's going to be like a big basketball tournament.
Yeah.
So
yeah. All right.
We'll have to see how it goes.
Is it time to introduce to you our guest?
I believe if you want to, let's go ahead and introduce to everybody our guest.
Introducing ESPN analyst and sports reporter. Give it up for Sarah Spain.
Hi, Jack.
Hi.
To get things started, I'm going to throw it to our boy Jack.
What made you decide to go into the world of covering sports?
Well, I actually grew up wanting to be on Saturday Night Live, be a comedian, or be some sort of performer like that. And so when I went to college, I was an English major, and I loved writing, and I played sports all the time, but I didn't really think that you could do it as a job. I didn't see very many women in the sports, so it had just never put the things. So I moved out to Los Angeles right after college to try to get into more of the acting and comedy stuff, and happened upon a class where I was, just practicing hosting a show and throwing to commercial, and made it about the Chicago Bears just to practice. And the teacher said, "Oh, you want to get into sports?" And I was like, "Oh, there's not really any women, and don't get to be funny." And she said, "Well, let's pivot it," and took my comedy stuff and all my acting and performing stuff and combined it with my love of sports. And that's when things really started to pick up. So it took me a while, but I found my way.
So with your English major, how did it relate to your current occupation?
Well, I am a writer for ESPN. So I learned a lot about, creating arguments and theses and arguing them, which is really powerful in sports, whether that be in the written word or even on my radio show. A lot of times when I think about what I want to talk about on my radio show, I don't think so much of a topic as a thesis. What am I wanting to say or argue, and why? So the English major was super useful. I also think a lot of people, as they want to try to get into certain careers, especially with email and texting and everything, they've kind of forgotten the importance of being able to communicate well and spell things correctly and form sentences and send professional emails. So having that really good foundation of being well-versed in our language was super helpful.
So that's one of the things I've tried to hammer home to Jack. We did a little interview with Tracy Ringlesby last week and talked about the importance of writing. Even when you see the folks that are the talent on screen, whether it's a podcast or television or however you're doing it, the key foundation for that is you have to know how to write. So that's looking just at your stuff. And when I saw the English background, like that's a leg up on a lot of people, because even the way they speak, and then you look at some of the blogs and the way they write it's terrible. So you really have a leg up on everybody, because you have the English language.
Right. I mean, I think if you're not a natural writer, you could still get by in television or radio. But if you want to get your start somewhere in blogs or, producing your own content, professionalism that is sort of cut away misspellings and print is massive. I mean, I know for sure, even if I'm just hiring a company to do something around the house. If I go to their website and everything's misspelled, I'm kind of like, what kind of company is this? Even if they personally aren't good at it, they should have somebody come through and make sure that it all looks right. And so I think even if you know that writing is not going to be your passion and maybe not even the job you do, you need to focus on it as much as you can, because that communication skill is going to be huge, even in just getting the job that you want.
See, Jack, I'm not crazy, man. I'm telling you, that's there's the blogging's not as fun, but it's
He's
not
right
on your craft.
So
well, and it's also a real intro into the industry. Like, a lot of people have to start there. I started writing at blogs for free so that I could then use those as examples to people that I wanted to get hired by. So even if it's not the end goal, it's a means to get there.
last question before we go into the world of sports. So with your radio show, Sarah and Company, how has COVID-19, how have you adapted with the COVID-19 situation to make your Spain and Company radio show what it is?
Yeah, the nice thing about Spain and Company is that my producer and the people I work with are really invested in doing the same kind of coverage that I want to do, which is thoughtful and interesting and current, and not as much about like the Mount Rushmore of running backs, or if this 85 Bears defense took on this offense. So we've really been flexible and understanding if our coverage becomes different than what we would have anticipated. So for a long time, it was what are players and coaches and teams saying about coronavirus and how are they reacting to it. For the last week and a half, it intersects with sports. So it actually, surprisingly, we haven't had as much trouble filling 3 hours a night as you would think. When there aren't any sports, because there's been enough to talk about whether it's, how leagues are working to try to make a return, and what are all the things concerns about coronavirus, ways it's impacted sports.
Let's get into the world of sports. So, let's start with the football world. What have you heard? What is the latest that you've heard from the world of the football?
Of the NFL. Well, there was a memo sent out to teams on Sunday with some of the things that they'll have to keep in mind for training camps, which are at this point, just a couple weeks away. And that is whether they'll have to adjust the sizes of cafeterias, locker rooms, training facilities, meeting rooms to accommodate all the players that will be back, and as much as they can dealing with social distancing and safety precautions. So there's a lot of questions. Football has been lucky in that they were not in season when this hit, so they could carry on with free agency and the draft and try to keep things on schedule as best they could. We're running up to the point where they're going to have to start really addressing the same issues other sports are facing, which is, how do you keep 90 guys that are, all in the same spot, really as protected as possible. So it'll be interesting how they react to that initial memo that was sent out that they just got.
All right. So baseball-wise, what have you heard?
Oh, baseball. They really can't get it together. The latest proposal from the players, I think, is at 96 games with a fully prorated salary, which is down from 114, which is what they last suggested. The owners really aren't moving off the idea that they can only pay that prorated salary that they agreed to back in March for around a 50-game season. And at this point, it's really hard to tell whether the owners are just trying to dig in their heels and use their leverage against the players, or whether there are numbers that they would be able to provide that show that the long-term harm to franchises would be greater if they played more games at a fully prorated salary, losing as much money as they're going to, than there would be in not playing at all. But I think that must not take into account the PR hit and the way that fans are reacting to the idea that they won't play at all, based mostly on greed and trying to pass around money instead of anything having to do with safety. I don't think they're very close still, unfortunately.
What's the attitude there of the fans in Chicago? Where Denver, I mean, with the Rockies, we have the Munfords, man, and it's painful. It's hard to be a Rockies fan.
Yeah, I would say, yeah. I mean, Ricketts made the statement that the money losses are biblical. I don't think people were really interested in hearing that from a billionaire. And we haven't heard as much on the from the White Sox ownership as far as I've seen. I would say it's a total toss-up. Some fans, I think, are aware that if you side with the owners, you're siding with billionaires that you just don't know as well as the players. So a lot of people will pick on the players and say, oh, you get to play a game for millions, you're being greedy. Meanwhile, they don't even pay attention to the fact that the people they're fighting with are much richer than them and don't even have to go out there and play and put their safety at risk. So I think it depends on who you talk to, but I do think that people are moving towards more criticism of the owners than maybe they had been before.
In the NBA, what have you heard more relating to COVID and all of the stuff that's happening? What have you heard from the NBA?
Well, the NBA are nearing their bubble that they're going to enter in Orlando with 22 teams. They're going to have an 8-game regular season, and they're going to compete to kind of figure out the final standings for the postseason. Some of the things that they still have to figure out and haven't said to the players yet are the specific protocols for COVID-19. But they've mostly figured out how they want to finish out the season and then play the postseason. It won't be till after the first round that friends and family members or anybody that they want to have there will be able to come, and it'll be a very limited number of family members. So it's going to be tough. It's going to be really different, but I'm of the opinion that they're better off finishing the season with a little asterisk than not playing it at all. Now the big concern is what will finishing out this season do to next year? Can they still get in 82 games? And if they do, are there a lot of back-to-backs and 4 games in 5 nights and things that the NBA has been trying to move away from in recent years? So it's pretty complicated. I don't envy the job of the people trying to get everybody back to work.
Where's your stance on the sports kind of taking chances and doing stuff different? I'm a hardcore – I like racing. So NASCAR's – they're doing a lot of stuff completely out of the box. The NHL is doing the way they're doing their playoffs. I'm not sure how much of a traditionalist you are sports-wise, but are you cool with as much of a just mess that we're in right now of try stuff now to see if it's something they'd want to work on in the future?
I think for certain things, yes. Like I think the golf tournament thing between Tom Brady and Peyton Manning and Tiger and Phil was super fun to watch and offered up an opportunity to see something like that in the future again with different celebrities paired with players. I think NASCAR, we just had a NASCAR reporter on our show last week, and she said that, in a lot of ways they're figuring out that some of the things they got used to aren't always necessary, whether that's the many pre-races or, staying overnight and all this other stuff, like that they can just get to the action. I think for the NBA, a lot of people are curious whether if they start the season late, it might be a test run on something people have already suggested, which is why doesn't the NBA start like right after Christmas and not fight with football so much? So I think it is an opportunity because everything is already so jumbled up to try new things. But when it comes to certain things like the finishing of this NBA season, I think you have to try to keep the integrity of the contention of the championship as much as possible. It's already going to have an asterisk. So if you suddenly get weird about like whichever the higher seeded team is, they get a 20-point start since they don't have home court advantage, like that kind of thing, I think you're getting too gimmicky, and it makes it harder for people to like really trust in the integrity of what's being contested.
What is your favorite sport?
Oh, that's too tough. When I was growing up, it was basketball because I was obsessed with Michael Jordan and the Bulls. But as I've gotten older, they all kind of like level out. And the nice thing about that is that I don't spend all my time looking forward to another season. Like I'm not like, oh, I'm okay, but I'm really happy when baseball's here, or I'm only happy when football's here. I really do enjoy hockey, basketball, soccer, football, baseball, tennis, track and field. Like I get into all of them. So it makes it more fun for my job that I'm always pretty happy covering stuff. What's your favorite?
Either football, baseball, or basketball.
Okay, so you're like me. We don't have to pick one.
What is it like working at ESPN?
Oh, it's awesome. Yeah, it's really fun. It's a lot of work because if you're doing 3 hours of radio every night, you have to know everybody who got traded or injured or had a great game or is mad about something or said something on the internet or fought with their coach or got a technical. So it's a lot of information to keep up with all the time. But the good part is that if you love sports, you're usually not feeling like you're at work because you're learning about and watching things that you otherwise would be interested in. So it's a lot of work, and it there's a lot of pressure. There's a lot of people watching you at any time. So if you mess up, you gotta own it. But for the most part, it's really fun.
Okay, I'll get one more from me. It's more of a serious one, and then Jack has a good question to end on too. But I got one. This is on the more than mean deal.
Yeah.
I have 3 daughters, and they're all 3 in sports. And the stuff that's said from the male to the woman standpoint is it I think is disgusting. Like it pisses me off, to be honest with you. What about the female to female side of things of when women are going at each other? Is that, and maybe I'm wrong, it's not as much of a cause of concern for me as I see when a man goes after a woman. That infuriates me to no end. Is there a difference in the social media stuff where maybe it's a woman criticizing a woman?
Are you talking about like on social media?
Yeah.
Yeah. I would say that almost without exception, the people that attack me on social media are men. Like I could probably say on one hand the number of women that I've felt like have gone after me or been difficult to deal with. Industry, like, sorry, that's my dog.
That's okay.
I would say within the industry, I would say especially, like, for the most part, I think that women really support each other. And there's a feeling that the narrative around there's only room for one of us is false, and that we don't have to abide by it. We can lift each other up and support each other, and we're not interchangeable. Like, we can all work together. So I found on social media, predominantly it's men who don't believe that women should be allowed to talk about sports and don't belong in the space. And even within the industry, predominantly it's men who have really antiquated views about women as athletes or sports fans. Women, for the most part, are not my problem in any way, whether in the industry or on social media.
Well, that's good. That makes me happy.
Yeah.
That's good to hear. So, all right, Jack, you got one more?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. What was your favorite moment covering sports?
Oh, okay. So this one used to be really hard, and there's still a lot of great moments that I can point to, but it's easy at this point to say that I got to go to all 7 games of the Cubs World Series and got to both be a fan sometimes and then also be a reporter speaking on behalf of other Cubs fans, representing my city, telling the stories on SportsCenter. So to be a part of that run, both in work and pleasure, was amazing. And then I actually got to be on top of one of the double-decker buses in the Cubs World Series parade with all the players, with the millions of fans cheering. So I don't know, nothing gets better than that. As much as it stunk to be a Cubs fan who had to wait so long, when you're a part of something that took over a century and you have this like relief in addition to your elation, it takes over, and it totally makes anything else look not nearly as exciting.
Awesome. Well, thank you for the time.
Yeah.
You're busy, so that was very cool of you to jump on here with us and
thanks
keep
for
driving the
having
point
me.
home to Jack. You got it right, Jack. Right.
Yep.
Right.
Right. You got to know your spelling and your grammar and how to express yourself in words. Very important.
Awesome. Thank you, Sarah.
Yeah. Thanks, guys.
All right, cool. We want to thank Sarah Spain for taking some time. I didn't tell you guys this leading up. She's hard to get a hold of. Jack's dad worked really hard. We set that interview up. I actually did it from work on my lunch break. It just the internet connection was not as good. It's a little choppy interview, but we thank you guys for getting through that, and we thank her for taking the time and doing that. She was spot on about kind of what's going to happen here with the NBA moving forward. And now we're just ready to watch some sports start. So
Yeah.
now, as you will recall from last week's episode, we talked about our If You Could of the week being a sporting event in history that you would like to have been able to have attended and seen in person. So we've had a week to think about it and ponder it. Jack, do you want me to go first?
Yeah, go first.
Okay, so there are several for me to choose from. My first instinct was to go to one of the biggest sporting moments I witnessed was when the Broncos finally won a Super Bowl. I can tell you where I was in Eads. I was at my buddy JD's house. We watched it there. I remember talking to my dad on the phone afterwards. I'm not going to say that we both cried, but it was special. Fast forward to just a few years ago. As I've grown to be a wrestling fan, I got to watch Martin Truex Jr. win a championship at Homestead. That was cool. Cannot confirm nor deny whether I may have cried that night. But there's been a lot of cool things sporting-wise happen while I was alive. And the one that I could go back to actually happened less than a month before I was born. And that is February 22nd, 1980. And that is when the United States men's hockey team defeated the Soviet Union 4-3 in the medal round during the 1980 Winter Olympics. If I could go back to any one sporting event and watch it and be there in person, that's what I would choose. Now, I would not sit on the glass. I would like to be up top. I enjoy hockey from the higher seats, unless it's the junior games and I'm right down there calling the game. If they'd let me do the public address for that game, I would go back and do it. I think that would be sweet. I would take the music I know now and go back there with it. But the crazy part about that game is I believe it's one of the most important sporting events in the history of our country, and there were only 8,500 people at it. That is insane to me. But if I could go back and attend any sporting event in person, I would go back and watch in person the Miracle on Ice, February 22nd, 1980. So, Jack, if you could go back to any one sporting event, what would you go to?
I would go to, not too long ago, 2016 Patriots and Falcons Super Bowl. It was the only Super Bowl that went into overtime. And my dad's friend is a big fan of the New England Patriots, so he would have loved to have gone there as well. So it was 34-28, Patriots win. But here's the thing. The Falcons were in the lead 28-3 in the fourth quarter. Tom Brady led the largest comeback in Super Bowl history to force the game into overtime. Then things got really weird as James White was pitched the game-winning rushing touchdown from Tom Brady on the halfback pitch play to the right side of the end zone for the score. 34-28, Patriots win. That's what I would go to.
Nice. Now, if you have the chance, okay, so let's say you're going back to that day. Where are you getting seats? Are you sitting down low behind either New England and Atlanta's benches? Are you sitting up maybe the bottom of the top level? Are you sitting in the club level? Are you actually going to get a pass and stand on the sidelines? If you could go back and watch that game where would you watch it from?
I would watch it from further up in the stands because I like how the play moves. I like studying how they go around and play it because I like the formations and everything and how they play and all that stuff. So I would like to go further up in the stands.
I feel the same way. Like when we watch hockey games, there's some seats there at the Pepsi Center when we watch the Avs that when you're up on that top tier on the third level, but you're all the way on the bottom, you're just above the club level. Dude, there's such good seats. You have the Pepsi Visiontron right there in front of you, but you can watch the plays developing and kind of see the X's and O's of what they're trying to do. And I just find that, I think that's awesome. I think those are good seats. You know, another sneaky cool part about that Super Bowl that day, which I was impressed with what happened. Lady Gaga smashed the halftime show then. Like I think that's the one where she rode the tiger around maybe at midfield. And I can't remember if it had fire. In my head, it had fire. I'm usually partying pretty hard at the Super Bowl. So by halftime, the tiger might not have blown fire out its mouth, but in my memory, it did. So, but yeah, a lot of people consider that to be the greatest Super Bowl of all time. So that's not a bad one to go back to either.
Mm-hmm.
Cool. Okay, well, I think that's going to wrap her up for this week. You got another week of practice. We got to get you off to practice tonight.
Yeah.
Cool. Well, don't forget to stretch. Drink plenty of water. We'll see you. We'll do her again next week. I think next week is Guerrero, right?
I don't know.
I believe it's
decision.
Guerrero.
Yeah.
Well, no. It's not my decision. It's your decision. You're the boss.
I don't know.
We'll figure it out later. Sweet, man. Have a good week.
All right. See ya.
Later.
Later.